Okay, y'all, open up your white notes to lesson 6, and we are going to finish those together. We did everything in class that we were going to do on the or part on the front. So y'all flip over onto the back page, and we're going to do the and part of the notes together. Okay, so this is an example of something that is graphed in an and format. And the way that we're going to write this is we want all the numbers that are greater than or equal to -2. You can see I'm going to the right from -2. And at the same time, those numbers have to be less than 5. You see they're stopping at 5 right here. I've got an equal to right here because I have a closed-in circle. And this one does not have an equal to because I have an open circle. But every number here is in between -2 and 5. It is at the same time bigger than -2 and also less than 5. So what we call this mathematically is an intersection. That those of you guys again who are going to be taking stats, that's going to be a really important word for you to remember. And the intersection means everything that's in this one and at the same time it's in this one. It's what they have in common. So and means what they have in common. Now remember when we do interval notation, we always move from left to right. So this graph, the furthest to the left it goes is -2. And I'm going to put a bracket on that -2 because I see a closed-in dot. And the farthest to the right this one goes is 5. And you can see I've got a parentheses on 5 because here I have an open dot. Okay, so let's look at an example. Sometimes it is written like this. So in my example right there, I put that one with the and in the middle. But most often it's written in what they're going to say is a more condensed form. So to do that, it's going to kind of look like this a little bit more. It's only going to have the two numbers instead of two separate things. And you can see that x is in between them because x is everything in between -2 and 5. And so I've got a less than or equal to right here because of the bracket. And I've just got a less than right here because of the open. All right, now it might look a little bit strange because here I had a greater than or equal to, and here I have a less than or equal to. But remember we talked about this the other day, and I'm going to treat y'all like your little kids for just a second. Do you see that alligator is eating the x? So when I put the x in the middle, the alligator still has to be eating the x. The pointy part is to the -2. The pointy part is to the -2. The whole thing needs to flip over here on the left-hand side. Okay, so some directions. If the and is written out like this one, then solve each part separately. If it is condensed, I do not want you to follow these directions. Most people find that to be very complicated and they make a lot of mistakes. So I want you just to scratch that out. And if it is condensed, you can split it into two pieces just like this and solve it from there. And then just like before, we're going to graph to show all the possible solutions. And then we're going to write our answer as an interval. Okay, so here's our first one. And you can see this one is written out with the and. It's already got the two pieces. So we're going to solve each of those separately. So first, I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. So 2w is less than or equal to 10. And then I'm going to divide by 2, working to get w by itself. W is less than or equal to 5. Okay, so that's the answer to the one on the left. Let's solve the one on the right. Subtracting 1 from both sides. Now notice here I'm going to have -5w. Don't forget to bring down that negative. And 41 minus 1 is 40. All right, now I'll divide both sides by -5 to get w by itself. All right, and make sure you remember anytime you multiply or divide by a negative, we're going to flip that inequality. And positive 40 divided by -5 is -8. And I'll put my and back inside of there. Okay, so let's graph this one. I want all the things that are less than or equal to 5, and at the same time, they are greater than -8. So that means I'm going to have an open circle on -8. I'm going to have a closed-in circle on 5. And then all the things that are less than 5 are going to go this way. All the things that are greater than -8 are going to go that way. So the part they have in common is here. And so that's what your answer is going to look like. All the things in between -8 and +5. So if I write this in the condensed form, I would start off with -8, right? And I see the pointy part right here is to the -8, and the alligator's eating the W, so I'm going to turn that around. So the alligator is still eating the W, the pointy part is still to the -8, and at the same time, it's less than or equal to 5, right? So this one is in the right order, quote unquote, just like this. And then this one turns backwards right here. All right, let's write that in interval notation. So interval notation goes from left to right. So the farthest to the left this graph goes is -8. The farthest to the right it goes is +5. And you can see that on -8, that part is not included. I do not have an equal sign, so that's going to be a parentheses. And on +5, I see an equal sign. I see a closed-in dot. It is included, so I'm going to have a +5. I'm sorry, I'm going to have a bracket on my +5. Okay, and then you guys remember we talked about in class the other day, there are infinitely many solutions inside of here, right? Every fraction, every decimal, every integer in between -8 and 5 is included, and that's infinitely many numbers that are shaded in. At the same time, there are infinitely many numbers not in the solution. All these numbers are not part of the answer, and all these numbers are not part of the answer. So there are infinitely many numbers not in the answer as well. Okay, let's do this one. So this one I can see is written in that condensed form. So the first thing I want to do is split it into two pieces. And I'm going to use two different colors to do this. So first of all, in the blue, I'm going to do that. That 4 is less than 3p plus 4. So let's do that. 4 is less than 3p plus 4. Okay, now we're going to work to get p by itself. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. All right, now 0 tends to throw you guys off a little bit. Just remember 0 is a number. 0 is a good number like everything else. 4 minus 4 is 0. That doesn't mean I have no solution. I can keep working, trying to get p by itself. And 0 divided by anything other than 0 is 0. So 0 is less than p. Okay, and we talked about the other day that when we graph this one, we want to turn it around so that the variable is on the left-hand side. So I'm going to turn this one, alligator still eating the p is greater than 0. Okay, so that's half the answer. Now let's get the other half of the answer. To get the other half of the answer, I'm going to do that part. Notice that the whole 3p plus 4 is included in both the blue and the red. I'm going to do that whole 3p plus 4 for both of them. The center part goes with each. So over here, I'm going to subtract 4, working to get p by itself, and then divide both sides by 3. And so I get p is less than 5. Okay, so now I'm ready to graph this. And this is an and question. Just as a reminder, I'll put and there in the center. This one and this one put together. All right, so to graph that one, I'm going to want to have an open circle on 0 because there's no line right here, right? And I'm also going to want to have an open circle on 5. And then what they have in common is the answer. The and, the intersection is what they have in common. So all the things that are greater than 0 go to the right. All the things that are less than 5 go to the left. So I'm going to end up with this center part colored in. Okay, so if I write this in the condensed form, I'm going to use this one. This one is going to be the order that I need for the condensed form. 0 is less than p, and then I'm going to use this one at the same time. P is less than 5. Okay, that's the condensed form of that same thing. And when we do delta math is going to want you to type it in that format. You have to use the condensed form for delta math. In our interval notation, we're going to go from left to right. So the farthest to the left this graph goes is 0. And the farthest to the right this graph goes is 5. And I can see I have an open circle on both of those, so neither one is included. I'm going to put parentheses on both. So there is my interval notation, my condensed form, and my graph. All of those represent the solution of this original inequality. Okay, so your task for the rest of the day today are all of these things that you have not yet completed. So some of you guys have already done the mathematician. If you've already done the mathematician, you don't have to do it again, obviously. Tuesday's Delta Math, if you have not already done that, click on that on the Canvas homepage and get that done. Then the notes from yesterday, lesson 5. I have the answers at school, so I can check those with you when we get back on Monday. Obviously, we're not going to be able to review the quizzes at home, so you can skip that part. And then number 5, complete the notes from today, both the front and the back, the or notes and the and notes. Okay, now remember, this is really important. To get credit for attendance on an e-learning day, you have to complete the assigned work. The expectation from the central office is while you are at home, you will do this work that you have been assigned. So if you have not yet completed Tuesday's Delta Math, or you have not yet completed your notes from today, which obviously you haven't because we just now finished them, both of those things need to be done so that you can get credit for being present at school on Tuesday and also present at school on Friday. If you have questions, please feel free to text or email. I'm happy to help you as much as you need.